This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by world champion Jai Opetaia over Zoom. Jai, I appreciate you jumping on. I'm in the middle of an airport, so I apologise for any noise in the background. But how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Ray. Just same old. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Obviously busy week last week with Crawford and what have you. I don't suppose you managed to catch his fight on Saturday night.
Yeah, I watched his fight, man. I watched the main event. It was good. It was a good chess match, man. It was good to watch.
What did you make of it, and how close of a fight did you see it?
It was a very close fight, but I did have Crawford winning.
What do you feel like was the difference for Terence? His last one on him as
Who'd
well.
you who'd you have up?
I
Who'd you have
so
up?
I had it even after 10, and then I gave Terence the 11. And then I missed for 12 because I had to go get my camera equipment to do my interviews afterwards. So I've missed the last round, but I had Terence winning 6-5 after 11.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
But yeah, Joe, let's moving on to yourself. There's obviously been a lot of chit chat recently between yourself and a certain Mr. Chris Billam-Smith. I was one of few who had the pleasure of catching up with Chris last week. Obviously, Chris replied and responded to your previous comments about reaching out to try and make a deal to get a fight on between the pair of you. And there were a few kind of things there which for him he didn't feel would be correct as to why he couldn't take it. One of them, maybe the obvious one, financially, he felt maybe he could deliver more to him. The other one being he didn't feel he'd be ready for an October date. He said that if it was November, December, it'd be perfect for him. He didn't want to rush a camp. Um, so yeah, I just want to kind of get an understanding first and foremost as to what you thought on those two particulars.
Right. Oh, what was it? He said you what was the financial? He
So
said he thinks he's
he
not
think
getting paid enough.
potentially he thinks that it could be worth a bit more. Yeah. So he said that he'd heard as well that apparently on one of your purses against the British fighter, he'd heard a rumor that you got paid what was being offered to him to fight you.
Bro, they give us a budget, man, and they wanted to split. I said they just wanted to split it between us 50-50 for the fight. And I was even offered him more. I said, you can have some of mine if you take the fight. You know what I mean? That's how much I wanted it done. So I know what he's whinging about money for. But and then the time difference as well, speeding up camp. We've been trying to get this fight done since June. He's had 17 weeks. You know what I mean? And then he's still got 10 weeks. To me, that's a good camp, 10 weeks. You know, unless you've been on the piss for, you know what I mean? Like you've really let yourself go, which I don't think he has, you know, like but like 10 weeks is a good camp in my eyes, you know, like I've done a lot. Oh, I've gotten ready for fights in a lot less, you know what I mean? We're fighters. You're on call when opportunities pop up, you know. But I suppose he does. He feels like this isn't the last opportunity he'll get with it. You know, he wants he's got the WBO now that he's saying stuff like that. That's why he's holding off for so long. But bro, the fight's there to be made. You know, October 12th. If he doesn't want to take it, I'll have to fight someone else. You know, I'm chasing unification fights. Any other fight except the unification fight, in my eyes, is not progress. It's just maintaining what I already have. And that's not what I want. I want progress. I want to move forward. I want to keep climbing that ladder, get closer and closer to being the undisputed cruiserweight champion. So that's what I'm chasing. I don't know what he's chasing.
Are you adamant, Jai, that let's say if talks were to pick back up again, are you adamant you have to fight in October? Because Chris said that if it was, say, November or December, so i.e., the Fury Usyk card, or when I spoke to Frank Warren last week, Frank mentioned, watch this space about a potential card in November as well. So let's say it's a Riyadh season card in either November or December. Would you be willing to wait until then if a deal could be reached, or do you have to fight in October?
No, not at all. Hey, I want to stay busy. I don't want to sit around and wait. Like if they want to fight December, I'll still fight October. I'll fight someone in October and then I'll go into December. Like I want to stay active. You know, those three fights that I had close together, man. Those are the most active I've been for a long time, and I just want to keep that ball rolling. You know, keep fighting. So But man, if he wants to fight in December, I will happily, man, sign the contract now. You know, like let's get the deal now. You know what I mean? Like let's make it happen. I'm ready. I'm ready whenever they want to fucking accept the fight. So
How much dialogue has there been between both teams, especially since the interview you did with the Zone, where you kind of publicly put it out there that a deal or an offer
yeah.
was on the table?
Mm. Oh man, you know, I'm not sure. I don't get into the whole politics and stuff. I tell my crew to, you know, what I want. We want to chase belts. I feel like the Chris Billam-Smith fight's the smartest fight to happen, and it's the easiest fight to make if they take it. But you know, it is what it is. He's got his own game plan, and I respect it, bro. You know, like I'm not here saying he's a bad fighter or he's a bad person, and I'm not saying he's a good, like an easy fight. You know, I believe he's a hard fight. I think I'm gonna have to really be prepared and dig deep. You know, I'm not underestimating at all. I know this is a massive opportunity for him as well. You know, like it's massive. So I'm gonna come into this fight fighting for my life. Like I know it's all on the line. So it's not that I'm, you know, trying to take easy fights or I think he's easy or anything like that. I just want these unification fights to happen, you know, and I know it's just an easy fight to make.
But for many, people would look at a fight between yourself and Chris as number one versus number two in the division. Do you see as that yourself? Do you see number one versus number two between the pair of you?
Yeah, sure. You know, hey, man, let's just fight. You know, what are we waiting for? Like what? You know, what are they saying? Oh, you know, do this and we'll save this for later. What for? Why? Let's fight. You know, the only reason you want to fight for later, what do you think you're going to lose? Like, are you doubting yourself? Like, otherwise, why wouldn't you take it? I got the Ring magazine, the IBF, the most money to be produced. Like, why wouldn't you take it? Like, he's trying
What's
to build it up into a bigger fight. Hey,
what's
just
kind
take
of
it. All for.
what sorry to cut you there, Job. I was gonna ask kind of
No, it's all good.
what's the cut off for you as to when you'd like to know if Chris is going to take it next, or if maybe a deal could be reached. Let's say if you was to do the October fight and fight in December still, where does it get to the point where you think, right, it's not happening this year?
Right. Honestly, man, boxing's here and there. It just keeps chopping and changing. All I do is train hard. I don't. I'm not gonna say if he offers me a fight, I'm not gonna turn that shit down. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, you know, that's he's gonna 10 weeks and say, oh, that's he's trying to rush my camp. Well, give me fucking 10 weeks, bro. Like, let's go. Call me up when you're ready. I I don't understand. What are we waiting for? Unification fights, champions fighting champions. That's why we're in this sport. We're in this sport to progress and move forward.
Going back to my interview with Chris last week, in his words, he felt like he's maybe the most called out man in the division now from the other champions, i.e. yourself. Said that he'd had a couple of conversations with Zurdo Ramirez and then the WBC champion as well. With all of that in mind, on Zurdo Ramirez, Chris also had kind of somewhat of a bucket list fight and he wants to fight in America. But for yourself, have you explored a potential fight with Zurdo Ramirez? He has the WBA title. You've mentioned wanting unifications, or is it fully focused on Chris Billam-Smith?
Not at all. I just feel like Chris Billam-Smith is easy to make. Like it's dead set. All he's got to say is yes, and then it's made. With Zora, it's a whole different. Bro, I'll fight him. The 12th of October. Let's make it happen. Any of them. Like I will fight any of them. The 12th of October. There's a date there. 10 weeks. Like what he's doing? He's training. He's busy. Like he's ready to fight. He's want to be fucking undisputed world champions, or you know, like what are we beating around the bush for? You know. So give me a call. Let's make it happen. Otherwise, we're just fucking talking shit, aren't we?
I can sense like the frustration there, Joy, and obviously you mentioned the activity part.
We're getting worked up. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, it's
But
all good.
it's just, man. Like it's just like, well, I don't understand what the hard questions are. Like, Don't we want to fight for belts? And there's an opportunity there to be made. It's a yes or no question, bro, but they just don't want to fight. So, but as far as the other belts, like, yeah, man, let's fight. Like WBC, WBA, any of them.
Obviously, like, when you certainly kind of burst onto the scene after that victory against Maurice Breedis a few years ago, and then, you know, over in the UK, we saw you fight Jordan Thompson, and you went and produced a fantastic knockout performance against Eddie Zorro. Then you got the repeat victory against Maurice Breedis again. But you've always maintained you wanted the unifications, you wanted those other titles from when you beat Breedis the first time around. When you kind of look on it from the outside looking in, do you feel like your career's somewhat being held up because you haven't been able to get those unifications as of yet, and you're continuing to chase them?
Um, and it's been a bit different, you know, like coming back from that jaw surgery and you know, having that big layoff, and then, you know, I had to go straight into the mandatory fight, and then you know, we got the exemption to have one fight, which was, you know, the Jordan Thompson, and then we had another date to fight Bradis, but he pulled out like 3 times. You know what I mean? So we said we can't sit around and wait for these. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just waiting for people to fucking fight. You know what I mean? Like, to move forward, to, you know, capitalize on these big opportunities. You know, we're fighting on massive Riyadh seasons, and the cruiserweight division, it's looked down on. You know, like, it hasn't got the respect and stuff. You know, and I feel like being on these massive Riyadh seasons, it's finally progressing, and people are starting to notice it more, you know. So I'm trying to put it on for the whole division, you know, put it on for Australia, my country, and just take care of business and just fight and progress, you know. Like, otherwise, what else are we doing? Just fucking sitting around doing interviews, trying to live like superstars. It doesn't interest me. I don't want to be a famous superstar. I want to be the best fighter in the world. That's all that interests me.
Let's say you were to come to an agreement and you were to fight Chris Billam-Smith next on the back of his most recent performance against Richard Riakporhe. What happens between the pair of you?
Man, I reckon it's a good fight. You know, I respect him as a fighter, and I know he's got grit, and I know he digs deep. You know, he's been through some wars, but, you know, he's got a good chin, got a good engine on him, good work rate. It's a fucking good fight. You know, like, fucking let's go there, let's go deep. How good are you? You know, let's fucking find out who's the best.
So I think that's a perfect way to end this. I don't want to get you too worked up, so next time you see me, you're coming after me.
Oh, good,
but,
thank you.
but Joe,
Appreciate the
listen,
interview.
no, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate you catching up. I understand the frustrations you have currently. So hopefully we see some news soon. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you back in the ring. I look forward to catching up with you in person soon.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Take care.